last section, okay, at least for 6-5. So finally, we're going to do fractions as percent. So we didn't go over fractions as decimals or decimals into fractions really because we've already been doing that. So this is where we added in percent. So we worked on going back and forth between those. Okay, so again, fractions as percent. So we're going to do a little word problem this time. 5 out of 16 families in the U.S. own dogs. What percent of families own dogs? Okay, so first thing we need to write a fraction. So 5 out of 16 families. So think about it. What's our numerator going to be? What is desired? Who has dogs? Okay, that's the question. So your numerator is going to be 5. Because 5 out of how many? 16. Okay, so there's 16 families, at least 5 will have dogs. So it's saying 5 out of 16. So part of a whole. We wrote the proportion, it's a fraction. All right, so we have our fraction 5 over 16. Okay, so 5 out of 16 families in the U.S. own dogs. We're taking that fraction and we're going to make it into a decimal. So just like we would before, fraction turning into a percent. But just like we've done before, we're turning it into a decimal first. So we've already, well, let's try that again. So in class, we've already gone over, I can't talk, sorry guys. We have already gone over turning fractions into decimals. So reading this like 5 divided by 16. Okay, like I said, you can be using your calculators, okay? So 5 divided by 16, take a second, do it. Do it on your calculator, do it by hand. I think it's fine if you're doing it by hand, you might want to pause. Okay, so take a second, 5 divided by 16, okay, we're dividing the numerator by the denominator, 5 divided by 16. You should get 0.3125. Okay, it's not a huge decimal, but a little too big than what we want, okay? Actually, in this case, it's fine. All right, then we're going to take this decimal. We've gone over turning decimals into percents, so we're going to do that now, okay? 0.3125. So remember, when we're going from decimal to percent, we're multiplying by 100, which means we're moving the decimal how many spaces? Hopefully somebody's saying it or thinking it. Okay, we're moving it 2 spaces, all right? So let's do that. Let me get my different color. Okay, so we're taking the decimal, we're moving it 2 spaces to the right. So go 1, 2. Okay, and then we write as a percent, so we take that. So we should have 31.25%. Okay, so make sure you fill in your statement. So about 31.25% of families own dogs, so saying in the U.S., okay? So pause this video. Do the practice problem. It's here on the bottom. It's also in your notes. Just to go over it, 3 out of 11 families in the U.S. own cats. To the nearest percent, so saying if you have a decimal like this, round to the nearest percent, so that ones place. So to the nearest percent, what percent of families own cats? All right? So pause the video. Do it. Remember, don't cheat yourselves. Try doing it, and then we'll go over the answer. All right, so hopefully you paused. I really hope you're pausing, guys. All right, so just like we did before, we're going to make our fraction. So 3 out of 11 families. So you should have made the fraction 3 over 11. Okay, sorry, that's an ugly 3. Let's try that again. All right, so 3 over 11. If you divided that out correctly, either by hand or with a calculator, either is fine, you should have gotten the repeating decimal 0.27. Okay, so that's repeating. We're still going to move the decimal like we normally would, okay? So we're going to move it over twice. And again, if we're rounding to the nearest percent, we can just write what's here. All right, so you should have gotten 27%. Again, ugly percent sign. All right, 27%. So if for the practice problem you got 27%, you got it correct. Reminder, guys, if you need to, go back, try it again. Your book has more problems than just the ones that are on here, so practice, okay? If you're still struggling, again, send me a message, whatever you need to do, all right? And I'll see you in 6-6.